Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Monday! There's no reason to smile on Mondays because we're going to start another series on Ramblings with Rebecca. Last week, we went through the basics, particularly the sources of international law, and talked about the fact that on the global level, there isn't a cop. We don't have a babysitter. All states are acting on formally equal territory. And the international law system is thus based on consent. States are legally bound to things only if they agree to be legally bound to things. And even once, of course, they say, yes, we're bound, this is legal, this is law for us, there's this question of an enforcement mechanism. And, where does a cop come from? Or, how do we punish when we don't have some kind of overarching daddy? But leaving aside those kind of political questions, I'm going with yes, international law is a body, and yes, it does have some kind of power, albeit limited power. We're going to spend the next couple of weeks looking at some specific arenas in which that plays out, and how international law has formed around those topics. Today, we're going to kick off human rights. This may be a little repetitive of one session I did many, many months ago in the summer while I was working on my first master's dissertation for the University of East Anglia, which included a glance at international human rights law as it applied to virtual water trade. See later or earlier in the playlist if you are curious. Anyway, to be quite honest, I was rambling, of course, so I don't even really remember exactly what I said during that. This week we're going to delve into things much more deeply. I'm going to start today with an overview of the international legal frameworks for rights, and then spend the rest of the week delving into specific subsets of rights and how those have evolved legally and with a little bit of socio-political attention as well, and talk about how those all synthesize together. And we will at some point, it may even happen today, depending on how long I talk, discuss non-universal and more regional frameworks and institutions as well for human rights. I'm going to leave aside defining human rights. That, I'm almost certain, is on the previous video. So go watch that if you need a human rights 101 kind of thing. We're going to focus here on legal issues. So, we have the International Bill of Human Rights. I say we have. It exists. However, that's actually a very informal name. There's no document that is enshrined as the International Bill of Human Rights. It's actually a series of documents that is nicknamed that because it effectively serves the purpose on the universal international stage that, say, the first 10 amendments in the U.S. Constitution do, right? It is a Bill of Rights in that it starts to codify and give some kind of legal force to human rights. It contains 3 documents, 1, a General Assembly resolution, and 2 other international treaties. These are all established by the United Nations. That General Assembly resolution, you may have guessed, is in fact the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted in 1948. But the declaration is just that, it's a declaration. It's not actually legally binding in and of itself, unless you want to make it an argument for it as customary international law. But that has less teeth, and the Universal Declaration itself doesn't say all that explicitly, states shall do X, Y, Z, with actual absolute force in a normative sense. Rather, it says these are rights. Everyone should have these rights. States should work to realize these rights, that kind of thing. So the language is very political and very kind of fluffy, as it were. So we have that framing resolution. It itself does not have legal force, per se. But then, also included in this International Bill of Human Rights, we have the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which was first adopted in 1966, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, also adopted in 1966. Those 2 covenant treaties, which then are legally bound, or legally binding on the states that ratify them, entered into force in 1976 after enough countries had ratified them. So not all countries are bound to those. Countries who are member states of the United Nations are not necessarily actually legally bound to those treaties, but they are the most legal oomph we have in enforcing human rights. So we'll spend the rest of the week talking about what all they contain, what the difference is, why there are 2 different treaties, that kind of thing, and exactly what power they do and do not have to enforce these human rights, particularly through optional protocols. Fun stuff.